Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks and another edition of Lockdown News Roundup. A lot of what I cover on here is grim, but there are some mad sights to behold at the moment. It's getting to a point now where you just have to sit back really and just laugh at the madness of it all. Look at this photograph that I've just seen on Twitter. Look at these guys. Look, yellow square Teletubby police in Wales. It says here, police checking motorists have a reason to be out. I don't know if this is what it is, but whatever it is, it's still crazy, it's still loopy, we're still going into the twilight zone. Can you imagine a good strong gust of wind? It will send them flying. And then to top that, we have this fella, he's trying to make the most out of the whole situation. He can see a market opening up. He's come up with an invention, a new mask invention. Look at this clown trying out his prototype visor mask, hand sensor detector thing, so you can eat and still wear a mask. Clown world, that's what it is. Let's give him a round, come on, let's give him a round of applause. Clown of the week, well done mate. The madness is reaching its peak. He even has a red nose for that extra clown vibe. Talking of masks, USA, who started the triple mask lunacy, are now implementing it into, you have to have 2 masks now to come into certain buildings. New York Post, 2 masks now required to enter Manhattan Federal Court buildings. It says here, visitors to Manhattan Federal Court and other buildings in the Southern District of New York are now required to either wear 2 face masks or an FDA-approved N95 mask. The double mask requirement was included in the Federal Court District's COVID-19 phased re-entry plan, released on February the 11th. Nutty. And then in Australia, this is a sad state of affairs. This is a seriously sad state of affairs. This, I believe, could possibly be the first virus shop. Yes, and you thought that fella with the mask was peak clown world. No, oh no, we have shops now opening up, specialising in masks, sanitising, air treatment, protective wear. This shop probably used to be a pub or something that people would have got some use from, may have actually got some enjoyment from. Now look at it, the virus shop. They've even got t-shirts. It's enough to make you want to puke. Hashtag social distancing on a t-shirt. Hashtag feck off. Here's another t-shirt. If you read this, back off. Is that supposed to be funny? Have people lost their minds? Are people buying t-shirts that tell other people to stay away from you? A shop specialising in selling stuff for viruses. What kind of world is this? Stop the world. I want to get off. I don't want to be part of this craziness anymore. How are we going to get some sort of parallel society sorted out? How are we going to start this off? Let's start working on it now. We need doctors. We need lawyers. And leave all of these fruitcakes to their sterile life of future misery. Stuff this for a laugh. I think getting cast away on an island is sounding like a dream come true at the moment. And I see this clip of politician Charles Walker, the only politician who seems like he has morals, who seems like what he says is somewhat grounded in reality. He says he's losing the plot. This is what he said on Channel 4 News Tonight.
Some of your colleagues on the Tory benches might mutter, "Oh, it's Charles. He's lost it."
They're probably right. It's almost like catch-22. If this didn't send you slightly doolally, there would be something wrong with you, wouldn't there? So they're probably right. I'm not really worried. I've had thousands and thousands of emails. People worried about their children who were self-harming, anorexia. People worrying about their husbands who were crying a lot. People worrying about their wives who are struggling, people worrying about eating disorders, people worrying about whether they can continue, at the extremist people telling me about those of their family that have taken their own life because they couldn't really cope any longer. So I've heard from a lot of psychiatrists, psychotherapists, psychologists, I'm sure it's not universal, they're a self-selecting bunch, they're writing to me, who are already overwhelmed with the call on their services, with really ill people having to be sectioned, people having breakdowns, and they're already overwhelmed, and they say this is just the beginning.
You know the argument from the government, which is that if they hadn't done this lockdown the way they've done it, the NHS would have toppled. There would have been more anxiety, perhaps, more grief.
Maybe all this was necessary. Maybe all this was necessary. But as I've indicated, I don't think anybody thought it through. I don't think anybody thought through the consequences. And these lives will be lost, lives ruined, and all of these are tragedies. And yeah, many people will get through this. Many people will sail through this. Yeah, but lots won't.
In other news, we've got people losing the plot. We have this. Man hands himself in as he'd rather be in jail than spend any longer with people at home during lockdown. The suspect said he wanted to go to prison to get some peace and quiet from those he shares his house with. A man wanted by police handed himself in so he wouldn't have to spend more time in lockdown with the people he lived with. Officers said the man was wanted for recall to prison and gave himself up at Burgess Hill police station on Wednesday afternoon to get some peace and quiet. Inspector Darren Taylor from Sussex Police explained the unusual turn of events in a post on Twitter. He said, "Peace and quiet. Wanted male handed himself into the team yesterday afternoon after informing us he would rather go back to prison than have to spend time with the people he was living with." One in custody and heading back to prison to serve further time on his own, it says here. A study, it says here, released in October found more than half the population, 53%, said they had felt angry with other people they know because of their behaviour in relation to the pandemic. It's not surprising, is it? I mean, you can't put people under house arrest for so long, tell them they can't go out, and not expect there to be problems. People are going to go stir crazy and get cabin fever. I mean, how many divorces do you think all these lockdowns have caused since they've been started for over the last year? I reckon there's going to be a lot of broken families, a lot of broken minds. Here's something someone showed me the other day, kind of curious. On the World Bank's website, it's very curious, shall we say. So the World Bank, they're a bit like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. It says here of the World Bank, with thousands of employees and 189 member countries, the World Bank is one of the most powerful institutions in the world. Each year, they funnel billions of dollars into ending global poverty. So that's the World Bank. And they have a document online. I'll put a link in the description to the document. They have a document, it's called COVID-19 Strategic Preparedness and Response Program Proposed 25 Projects under Phase 1. It plans for it's basically plans for their investment project for all these countries hit by the COVID. Now, it's all very complicated, but this part I thought it was interesting. It says here, look, project start date and expected project end date. Now, the start date is the 2nd of April 2020, which is pretty much when all the lockdowns started, wasn't it? And it states here, as you can see, the project's closing date is 31st of March 2025. 2025. I mean, that's a very specific date. How can they know that this project of financing countries and all of the problems is going to end in 2025? That's a kind of a curious year to pick out. 4 years. It says that the program development objective is to prevent, detect and respond to threats posed by COVID-19 and strengthen national systems for public health preparedness. I don't know. Just thought it was curious to put in such a specific date, like over 4 years away. Is that telling us this is being set up for another 4 years? I don't know. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to hugotalks.com. It's the only place where I get to keep the subscribers. If YouTube cancel me, delete the channel, all subscribers are lost. And I want to keep making these videos and try and retain as much of the audience as possible. As I know that YouTube Axe is coming down at some point. I'm surprised nothing's happened so far. Well, I say that one video was taken down. So yeah, if you're gonna subscribe, do it at hugotalks.com. Thanks a million, and I will see you tomorrow.